Okay, so if there's nothing else that comes out of today, I want you to bring fun back into your life, bring fun into the lives of the people around you. Fun. And the reason is there has never been a successful billion-dollar business that wasn't created around fun to start with. I, as a venture capitalist, only like to back technology because I think that technology moves along so quickly that that you can take advantage of what's called Moore's Law. Moore's Law is when $1,000 worth of compute power doubles every 18 months. And what that means is every 18 months, you can come through and go after an industry with technology that's twice as good as the guy who started 18 months ago. So I'll give you a few examples. I mentioned Bitcoin. Bitcoin can be used as your bank. I can now put my Bitcoin on something like this, and I don't have to give my money over to somebody who's dressed fancy like a banker. But then there are other technologies that came with Bitcoin. There's the blockchain. The blockchain keeps a perfect record of every transaction. And if you've got a technology that can do that, then you don't need the accountants and the lawyers, or at least the accountants and the auditors and the bookkeepers, to keep track of where your money went, because the blockchain's already doing it. So I'm always looking for an entrepreneur who will put an accounting system around the blockchain. I think Intuit has owned that business for long enough. It might be time for somebody to come into that business. Or in real estate, it keeps perfect records of who owns a block of real estate. That keeps title. And then there's a smart contract that also came from that technology, and that allows you to create a contract in the cloud that is set in stone or set in software, where you get to put a deal together, and that whole deal can be built into software. So there's no issue that lawyers can fight about, and it saves you all that legal fee. And so there are three new technologies that are going to go after three big industries. Now, there are also some really interesting technologies around surveillance. All of that surveillance, the cameras on every block, and they're very good for security. In fact, more effective than the police in some cases, than to have these cameras around. We know that from Draper University. We had a lot of thefts, and then we put up cameras. We had a lot of thefts, and the police said they couldn't do anything. And so then we had a bunch of cameras go up, and the theft went away completely. And that was a major breakthrough in my mind, that surveillance would be a great way to keep track of things. And so you can use surveillance to determine insurance. Currently, when you have an insurance company, or you're working with an insurance company, you pay your premium, you pay your premium, you pay your premiums, and then you issue a claim and you say, hey, my house burned down. And then they fight you tooth and nail, and they send inspectors out there, and they do whatever. With surveillance, you can just say, oh, okay, yeah, I see the house burned down. Or the car flipped over, and we know that the winds hit 130 miles an hour going through that road, and that is enough to turn that car over. So you get the data out there, and that data is more powerful than all the people going out and inspecting. And then that takes me to healthcare, and healthcare, well, actually, it takes me to government, because if you can create an insurance company with just artificial intelligence and surveillance and a few smart contracts, then what is government? Government is a series of insurance programs. They have healthcare insurance and workman's comp insurance and unemployment insurance, which we seem to be using a lot of now, and your pension insurance, Social Security. All of those are insurance programs. That's a huge part of what government does. So a lot of government can be done through surveillance. Um, the next thing is healthcare. In healthcare, it's all moving toward data, and so you can use big data and artificial intelligence to change the nature of healthcare. I'll give you an example. We have a company called Cloudmedix, and you can go. Cloudmedix takes all of your healthcare records, and then it can do a better job of diagnosing a problem than the average doctor does. And when combined with a doctor, it does an even better job. Well, think about that's just for medical records. What if you add your blood test results, your genetic history, your Fitbit results, what you ate for breakfast, the airplane seat you sat on, the conferences you attended? All of a sudden, there is this amazing base of data that you could never pass on to your doctor in a short enough time that will give you this amazing new look at healthcare. That is really exciting, and it can be almost free, at least the diagnosis. And then therapeutics, I think a couple of things are happening in therapeutics. First, the drug companies want you to just think one size fits all, and they will just deal you drugs. Boom, 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 boom. We want everybody taking all these drugs. Take Medoschlambo because it does all this for you. But of course, here are all the side effects. But what's really happening in healthcare is now in computing, they have computational biochemistry that can do a better job of determining whether a drug will have efficacy or safety than in a wet lab. A wet lab moves very slowly, but a dry lab, considered a computer lab, can run. Here's a disease. Here are a bunch of drugs you're running against it, and then you see one that works, and you say, okay, that's the drug. And then you find out that it works for me and it doesn't work for you, and then you have to then you can put your information up there and run a different test, and then it's a different drug that solves the problem for you. That is really powerful. And then in operations, over time, we're going to get from where the expert starts giving advice to the surgeon, and then the surgeon does the surgery, and then the surgeon's going to start using robots, and then the expert's going to pass through the surgeon to the robot, and then eventually the experts will just be in data, and that surgery will happen without a doctor. Maybe there's a doctor in the room keeping tabs on what the machine is doing, but we have some major breakthroughs happening in all those industries: insurance, healthcare, government, banking, finance, real estate. All those industries, the biggest industries in the world, are about to go through huge transformations. The way the internet transformed media and communications, entertainment, gaming, these new technologies, Bitcoin, the blockchain, smart contracts, artificial intelligence, surveillance, they are changing the biggest industries in the world. So we're going to see startups that absolutely take the world by storm and do incredible things going forward. And while we have trillion-dollar businesses now, I think we'll have $10 trillion businesses then. So you could be someone who starts a $10 trillion business. So put that in your head. I don't want you to put in your head that you want to make enough money to buy a house. I want you to put in your head that you're going to be one of the $10 trillion businesses. And how are you going to get there? And one last thing, just go and have a great experience, and think globally, think $10 trillion business. How do I get there?